Morning, everybody. So today we're going to be utilizing your credit report to look for debt that we can potentially get removed from your credit report. So yesterday I had stated that we want to look for things that are coming up on a 4-year mark, are at the 4-year mark, or past it. The reason that is that in the state of Pennsylvania, the statute of limitations for anyone to collect a debt on you is 4 years. Every state is different. So if you're not in Pennsylvania, look up what your statute of limitations are in that state. Specifically today, I'm going to be talking about Pennsylvania because that's the state that I reside in. Now, the important factor in this to pay attention to is that you cannot have made a payment on this debt or been on a payment plan for the past 4 years. So if you have a debt that you haven't made a payment on, they've been calling you about, and let's just say it's May of 2016. May 2020 is going to hit its 4-year mark. If you haven't made any payment on that, that's something that you can definitely dispute once that time has passed. So if May 16th was the last time you made a payment, or May 16th of 2014 was the last time you made a payment on a debt, specifically with a collections agency or repossession on a car, as soon as May the 17th of 2020 hits, they can no longer collect on that debt. Now, collections agencies will not tell you this. The reason why they won't tell you this is that they're going to try to make money off of you. So when they call you and they ask you to verify who you are, and we're going to get to why they ask those and how you should handle that. But when they call you, the moment you set up a payment arrangement with them or you make a payment with them, it restarts the debt. So if you're coming up on your 4-year mark and you make a payment with this collections agency, you're now at day 0. And they have another 4 years to collect on this debt. Another thing to think about, if you have a debt, let's just say you got 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, if it's not a large debt, you could possibly consider waiting another 2 years or another 1.5 years for that 4-year mark to hit so that you can then, be at that statute of limitations and they cannot collect on you. This is actually called zombie reporting. So anything that's over 4 years, you haven't made a payment on, it's still sitting on your credit report, you can dispute. And what I did was at the time I had a repossessed car on my credit report. And I think I had some other bill like Comcast bill, cell phone bill or something like that I didn't make payments on at all. It was at the 4-year mark. I had researched this information online and I utilized it. So what I did was I looked up templates online to dispute what's called zombie reporting, anything that's over 4 years. When a collections agency would call, I would tell them to send me everything out in writing. Now, the way I deal with collections agencies is a lot different than most people deal with collection agencies. So when they call me, the first thing I do and don't do is I do not verify who I am. So when they ask, is Dupree such and such there? Can I speak with him? My next question is, who am I speaking with? And they have to identify to me who they are. My next thing is, I didn't do any business with you because I didn't do any business with this collections agency. I did business with Comcast. I did business with the bank. I did business with Verizon. And I never signed any documents with the collections agency. That's the next thing that I typically say to the collections agency. And then I tell them to cease and desist all calls and send this information out in writing. Now, with that being said, you don't want to identify yourself. The reason why is that they're trying to gather evidence on you to make sure that they have the correct person. So when they ask for your name and you say this is he or this is she, that's one piece of information they have on you. Then when you verify the last 4 of your social or you verify your address or a previous address, now they have means or they now have a reason to call you on your phone however many times they see fit or whatever the state law is, because now they identify that you are who you are and that they believe that this debt belongs to you by you confirming that information. Understand that. That's what they're doing. The second thing is they know that most people do not know the statute of limitations. They know that most people don't know that they can't collect on a debt that's over 4 years old. But they're not going to tell you that because they want to make money. They want to get their money. And when you make this payment on this collection, that they have, what ends up happening is that if you make this deal, let's just say your bill was $400 and you made a $200 payment that was the deal, it's going to show up on your credit report as a charge off. And it's going to stay there for the 7 years because you made this deal. This was the deal. Now, there are times when I have negotiated with collections agencies in the past. I'm not going to say that I haven't. I've negotiated with a collections agency where I stated to them, listen, I'll pay this off, or I'll make a payment on this if I pay this in full, or if I pay 75% of this balance, will you remove this from my credit report? Now, some collections agencies have said, yeah. And I've always asked for that in writing because the person you're on the phone with, they're making a commission. So they're going to say to you, yeah, we can do that. And you make the payment and it stays on your credit report and, you didn't get anything out of it. They got their money and yeah, it shows on your credit report that it was paid off, but it just sits there. So when you're trying to buy a house or when you're trying to get a credit card that has a higher balance on it, they're going to look at this debt that you had, or they're going to look at this collection that's on your credit report, and it's not going to look good. Collections on your credit report is not going to look good at all. So the 4-year mark, or coming up on a 4-year mark, is what you want to look for on your credit report. If you have any of that type of debt, you can find templates. You can actually DM me. I'll send you some of the templates that I have that you can utilize. Put your name, your account number, and you send this out to, there's one for the credit bureau, and there's also one for a collections agency that I have. And this is what I did to get those two things off my credit report, because I didn't have to wait 7 years for it to get removed because the debt was no longer technically there. They could no longer collect on that debt. So when I notified the collection agency, listen, this is zombie reporting, you can no longer collect on this debt, sent out this letter, they had to get that off their books. So then I waited a month and a half, almost 2 months, and then I disputed it via the credit bureau. So when the credit bureau does their 30 days to see if this credit is there, technically it's not going to be there because it's past the statute of limitations. The collections agency can't verify it because it's past the statute of limitations, and they have to ultimately remove that from your credit report.